Okay, Jesus, I've been busy, but I've been thinking, oh, I want to help those guys, not be dumbasses at it, at IT, the main thing, it. And, but I don't have time for the little baby things that maybe I can hope they will understand. They don't really understand those anyway, so maybe I'll just share with them the kindness of my heart of what I've been working on, which is CSE. It's not the word case. You could say case if you want, but it's an acronym which I can't really explain to you, but it's like a word sentence made into a word, and this one means computer aided software engineering. Um, and That's what I've been doing. It's where you write programs that write programs. I used to think doing this kind of thing you might get the ultimate artificial intelligence, but I don't think so anymore. But you do become the ultimate software ninja when you write software that writes software. It's kind of a stupid reason that I had to do it the last couple weeks, which is, like several hundred hours, because for grown-ups, sometimes a work week has 126 hours available for working. And if you're a masochist, even more than that, but um, if you're a masochist, that much as well, but whatever. And so I can't explain to you what Pepe is. Imagine it's like magic words of what you could do if you want to be correct. If you're writing for a particular piece of software, you have to write that way unless you have a good excuse. So that versus camel caps, which speaks for itself because of the ironic way I wrote it, and the word camel, which you won't quite understand today, but that one I think maybe you'll get if you watch the video again or later on in a dream. Basically, you got old school, and you see with the underscore, that's more ironic fonting there, and then you got new school, which that's also called camel caps. If you can see the similarity to this old one, yeah, old school, old, new, old, new. Yeah, well, the team fancies itself old school, and they go, oh, Pepe, because Pepe, it's old school. But I refuse. No, hey, what? That's years of work in there, those names. All that editing, and then the software doesn't even do... What? Forget that. Then I think of their happiness and ways to solve their problem, because that's how I am. Their problem, which is superficial to me, because they should be able to deal, and camel caps is objectively superior. That's why we moved on to it, but it's also what Java uses, so that makes it suck a little, and so I relent. Yeah. And then I find, well, there's nothing that can do it for me. I'll have to write my own tools to scan my software and detect all the names, and then do some sort of search and replace stringy thing. I have to parse the Python. Well, on the parsing the Python part with the search and replace of the string manipulation of the modules themselves, I find a thing called rope, a tool called rope, which they call rope because you use it to hang yourself, because that's what's going to happen when you do this kind of shit, because it's too complicated. So I had to do it myself. Yeah, well, I did do it, and there was no editing of the files. The scripts drove all of the there was one edit I had to do by hand where, okay, it went a little bit crazy and did a weird change. It was easier to back out by hand than to start the job over, because it took hours. My software I wrote took hours editing the other software things. What would it take me and the team? Probably months to do by hand. I've done it by hand before, which sucks. Every function, every argument of every function, every class member was detected automatically, analyzed, and changed into you know, PEP compliance. With all I had to do was say, go do it. That's just editing software, as other case stuff I do on a regular basis. And this used to not really be, I know it was not acceptable, but, you know, because when I was a young programmer, like 12, 13, I used to love, you know, self-modifying code and all of that. But as a professional, of course, you know, you can't use it. It confuses other people. Even if you do a nice, solid system, it confuses other programmers because, you know, well, that's why I'm making these videos. But anyway. But lately, the tools have gotten such that, you know, a lot of it's getting more and more acceptable. And so in my regular work, I generate code. I generate code to run later. I generate code from configurations, so it's active and optimized and loads as an active object. I generate code and execute it right after I generate it. I create self-documenting objects. They can create a web page of their class documentation, of their current state. Present graphs of their reference graphs of what they reference, what references them, things engineers would like, and they become useful sometimes. I design meta classes instead of hierarchies of classes. I design a meta class, you know, a base class that has the basic abilities, and then I apply and bind functions and objects at runtime and keep track of them dynamically myself in memory. MonkeyPad, yeah, that's a self-effacing term. It doesn't mean I'm kludging. I'm just talking about it. Sometimes these systems are meant to be, they're exposed for a reason, so you can patch them the way you want, you know? And this stuff is somewhat becoming currently acceptable, which is weird. You know, what's next? They are going to let me use Recursion? I know you can't use it. I know to be a good professional programmer, got to use it. A queue, simulate the recursion with the queue and control your memory, be more optimized. Fine. Why doesn't the compiler or some system do that for me? Give me some keywords. I like me some recursion. Come on, you can do it. Maybe next we'll be able to do recursion. It's possible. It's possible. I see a day. I mean, I do a little recursion, but you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out you don't blow the stack. I'm doing big boy stuff, remember? If I do my job recursively, we're not just talking about, ooh, can you know, make a tiny little fractal. This is some big things that I would have to recurse. Yeah, I sneak it in, but you gotta be careful. But maybe next, hey, I mean, it's the world coming to if I can have a good name like Case for computer-aided software engineering, which is really just like me getting to a new level of laziness where I don't even write programs anymore. I write programs that write them for me. Man, that's awesome. Maple kind.